This is the episode where we show you how event photography can be integrated into your business right now. You're going to learn the essential questions that prevent disappointing clients, the critical equipment setup you need for success, and a simple trick to secure repeat business.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with actionable strategies to grow your business.
Hello, Marcus. How are you?
I am very well, thank you, Sam. And how are you?
Excellent. Very, very good. Just here, adjusting my microphone and things. Excellent. And today, Marcus, I understand you're going to be talking about how we can integrate a different type of photography into our business.
Indeed, I am, Sam.
Today, Marcus is going to share 3 major discoveries for adding event photography to your services. First, you'll discover the core mindset and essential preparation questions you must nail down before the event starts to capture the client story under pressure. Second, he'll reveal the critical equipment setup and strategy that lets you deliver hundreds of high-quality images within 24 hours. And finally, you'll learn the simple commercial photography marketing strategy that turns venues and speakers into your most powerful source of repeat bookings. Event photography. Excellent. Well, over to you, Marcus. You are the main event of the show.
When people think of events, they often picture conferences or awards nights. And yes, that's a big part of it. And in fact, at the moment, I am in deep event season, conferences all over the place. And I've certainly noticed that it is a growing market. Well, certainly for me anyhow.
Okay, so when you say event season, kind of when is that roughly?
We're in the winter now, and I think that seems to be quite a busy time for it. When businesses, they're winding down or they want to have a recap for the year, who knows? But yeah, it's roughly about this season now.
Okay.
But it's not just about awards. It does cover event photography, brand launches, small business gatherings, retreats, network sessions, or even live workshops. And in this episode, I'm going to break down what event photography really is, what to expect, the kind of equipment that helps, and how to prepare for the day, what happens on site, how to handle the editing, and most importantly, how to find work in the space.
Perfect, Marcus. Sounds interesting. Right, where are we starting?
So what is event photography? At its heart, it's about storytelling under pressure. It's capturing those moments that only happen once. The energy of the room, the connections that are being made, the atmosphere, and turning them into a visual narrative that the client can then use afterwards. You're shooting for emotion, interaction, and context. And for a brand, these photos become a way to extend the life of the event for marketing, PR, and of course for social media. But also, individuals find it a way to remember and relive those key moments. So as an event photographer, you're sitting somewhere between, a documentary and a brand storytelling. You're a visual story, a journalist, a brand ambassador, and a people watcher all rolled into one.
Wow. I don't know. You get any time to breathe doing all of that, Marcus?
Do you know what? It's a busy day, Sam. It is a busy day, and it can be a long day. I'm going to be talking about that. But as I say, I've been doing photographing conferences now for maybe 3 or 4 years, especially as I've been doing brand photography, because it links in nicely with that growing market. Maybe because of post-COVID, it's an opportunity for people to get together. Maybe it's a way that companies can finance or event companies can make more money. But certainly, I'm finding it's growing. So let's talk about gear. With your equipment, you need reliability and flexibility. You're often working in changing light, moving through crowds, and reacting quickly. So your equipment needs to keep up with you. A typical event setup might be 2 camera bodies, and you do need 2 camera bodies. Even if you only use one, you need one as a spare. You want to set one up with a wide to standard lens, maybe a zoom like a 24 to 70, and the other one with a telephoto zoom. And like a 70 to 200.
So that's kind of for you picking out the person on the stage, you need to get close to them, that sort of thing.
Exactly. It helps you move around the room with your lenses. You need fast lenses as well, Sam, because often very dark in these places, incredibly dark. So you need some things with aperture 2.8 or even faster.
And what's your thought on having two shooters, so taking someone else with you?
I've never done that. I don't think you need to. I think you just got to be really it can be done. And certainly I work with video crews. That is the norm. But with another shooter, I don't often see it unless it's a really big event.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
look,
I guess if it's kind of the event where they want like a photo of everybody coming in, you might need another because they could do that while you're doing the room and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Sam. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. Somebody might you might have another photographer who set a headshot booth up or something like that. That could definitely work. So you've got reliable equipment, fast lenses, on-camera speed light, which you might not use in the main room, but you might have to do some meet and greets or called a step and repeat board, which is when you have a board with logos on and people come in front of it. So that's where your flash would come.
It feels a bit like the end of the Tour de France or the Grand Prix.
Yeah, except it's inside under very bad lighting. But yeah, it is just like that. It's the red carpet thing, Sam. You know that we all know and know very well. Yeah, and certainly you might just be even pulled in for the job just to do the red carpet or the step and repeat. And there are jobs that I do where all I do is to step and repeat. Certainly an on-camera flash is what you need. Spare batteries and memory cards. If you're using VR lenses, you will be going through the batteries like nobody business, and mirrorless cameras as well. So you do need a lot of spare batteries. VR lenses, Sam, I can see you looking at me quizzically there, are vibration reduction lenses. They have got a little motor inside where we can shoot at lower shutters.
Presumably that's mainly for the more telephoto lenses.
Exactly right, Sam. It's definitely for the telephoto lenses. Very useful. And finally, you need a comfortable bag and good shoes because you will be walking miles and up and down stairs.
And what's your thought about weight of equipment? Do you consider that? Because if you're carrying two camera bodies and lenses, that's heavy.
So yes, I do consider it, Sam. I would definitely be packing a different bag depending on the event. I know the client wants the pictures really quickly to take my laptop with me, and that's going to add a lot of weight. If I don't have to take that, I'll avoid it. Sometimes I might not take certain lenses. Like, for example, I might not take my super wide lenses, and I might do that on my phone instead if they really want those. So yeah, I am always thinking about the weight because that bag gets very heavy to carry around.
Cool. It's right. Let's move on from equipment, Marcus. What else have we got?
Okay, but just to add just one more thing on equipment, Sam, that is about sometimes you might need on your mirrorless camera, you can put them onto silent shooting mode, which can be very, very useful. I don't have that option. So let's move on to expectations and preparation. Before the day, preparation is everything. Have a clear brief from the client. And you've got to ask the questions. What are the purposes of these images? Who are the key people or VIPs? Are there any must-have shots or brand elements to include? And where will the photos be used? Socials, it's on websites, it's on press. The reason why these questions are important is if it's going to go out on Reels, I know that I've got to shoot a lot of portrait. If it's going to be for a website, it's going to be more landscape images. So that's why it's important.
Yeah. And I think asking is so important, isn't it, Marcus? Because if you just assume the client's going to tell you what they want, it's just going to be in their head. They're not going to tell you. At the end of the day, you're going to have the right shots. They're going to be disappointed. You've got to ask. And then it'll be in there, won't it? But you do have to ask those questions and to bring it out.
You do have to. I mean, they don't know that. You know, you have to ask the questions unless you're dealing with a big marketing team, which is often the case. And they might know it. But certainly these days, you have to shoot landscape and portrait and find out what's the vibe, what's the brand. And I did a little bit in a newsletter a little while ago, Sam, about shooting to a brand identity when you're doing an event. So, for example, there's an event that I'm doing in a couple of weeks in London. And I know their brand is really dark, so I'm going to be really shooting with lots of black backgrounds, so it will look really nice in their website. So those are the kind of things you can find out. You can find out whether they're going to have any logos around, is going to be any branding, any bags and stuff like that. And you want to make sure you include all those kind of things. And obviously, the most important part you need is a running order, so you can make sure that when the speakers come on stage, that you're there to record them. These things can happen very quickly.
Yeah. You don't want to be stuck, and that's the moment you decided to go to the loo and you missed the main event.
Yeah, very practically what could happen is. So event days are all about staying calm, observant, and ready. So arrive early, so you've got time to check the lighting conditions and test your settings before people arrive. You want to talk to the organizer, confirm the key shots and running order again. And then once the event starts, you want to start putting your mind into anticipating and observing. And I cannot emphasize that enough. You just go into this mode of where you're really, really looking, or I certainly do, and you're hyper aware.
Excellent.
The kind of things you're looking for are those unscripted and authentic moments between people. Like when they're gathering before the event, you're looking for those handshakes, those people smiling at each other, people laughing at each other. And that's when you're going to bring in that long lens, and you might go in tight, and then anticipating about what's going to happen. You've got to be aware of the competition in the background. Make sure there's no awkward backdrops that can ruin the shot, or people doing things in the background that you don't really want. And one thing that I've learned is keeping an eye on the light. You've got to look around, Sam, for those little pools of light, either by windows, if you've got windows, or spotlights coming down, where it will just make your photographs look good. Because obviously you want to make good photography. Yeah. Invariably, the lighting is really bad.
Yep. And as you say, light is a big issue at a lot of
these events. It really is, Sam. Yeah. And so you've got to start looking around and knowing what will work well and use that. And you're almost just going to stay in one spot for a little while and wait where the light is good and waiting for things to happen in that spot.
Amazing. Anything else, Marcus, on our journey through event photography?
So let's talk about editing and delivery. Once the event's done, the work isn't over. Editing is where you bring it all together. You're looking for a clean, consistent look with natural skin tone, balanced light, and a touch of polish. Now, that's in an ideal. Let me tell you, sometimes that's not the case, because you are dealing with mixed lighting where you get cross curves. You might have daylight coming in at one color temperature, and you might have tungsten light with another color. Your editing style has got to match that. You've got to be really good at this.
Yeah. And then presumably also speed is of the essence, because I presume with it being an event, especially if they want it on social media, they want it right
Yeah,
away.
we're going to talk about that. But exactly right, Sam. Speed is really important. That's what they want. You want to be delivering those photographs within 24 to 48 hours. You haven't got time to go mad on the cropping or the editing and dropping in cloning and doing that kind of thing and getting rid of stuff. Got to get it right in camera.
And so then the editing is much
exactly,
quicker.
Sam. Yeah. And so it's much quicker. You're almost in a copy and paste event. Because look, on a typical day, how many I'm going to shoot maybe 800 images. I'm going to be delivering 400, maybe 300. Don't want to spend too long editing it.
So in some ways, the editing should be as much simply selection as anything else.
Exactly right, Sam. Okay, let's get into the last bit on how we find work and how you build a reputation doing this. So the relationship is relationship driven. Most opportunities come from word of mouth, repeat clients, and partnerships with venues or event organizers. Start local. Start with your own networking events, your own meetups, and make sure you deliver those images quickly, and soon your reputation will grow. I think that wedding photographers is that they tag venues, they tag speakers in the post and on the pictures, and I think that's a great way of moving forward.
Yeah, and then we also, Marcus, I think talking about that, we've got lots of shows where we talk about working for free. There's a specific one, haven't we, of kind of, if you are going to try and get started, if you are going to work for free, that's okay. But yeah, definitely listen to our show, because it's like, don't just do any old thing for free. There's really specific things you need to think about. So go and listen to the show.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, definitely do that. The main people that I work with events are marketing departments of these big companies. And so ideally, if you're going to once you've got a portfolio together, those are the kind of people you want to be contacting. PR agencies, brand managers, and event planners.
Lots of networking.
It is networking. Yes, it is, and it is worth it. It's a good genre to get into. Event photography is all about capturing energy and emotion in real time. It's fast moving, people focused, and rewarding when you get it right. The gear helps, but mindset and awareness are everything.
And in some ways, although we're aimed at commercial photographers, in some ways this sounds like a perfect opportunity as well to fill the winter for wedding photographers. You've almost got an opposite season, and in some ways the skill sets in terms of that capturing things as they're happening overlap a lot.
I think there's a big overlap there. But the thing is, Sam, it's a different market, isn't it? So maybe that's where you need those two websites and two business heads on.
That's it. The skills are the same, but definitely the customers are so different.
Yeah, there's one thing I didn't mention, and I think we have had a show on this, and it's about shooting in cross genres. If you really want to get your eye in for doing event photography, I really recommend doing street photography, because that is a place where things happen unexpectedly, and you have to react to it very, very quickly, and have your eye and fingers trained in towards that to react to that environment.
And there's shows on that. Well, Marcus, thank you very much.
Well, that was a truly packed show. So let's just have a little recap of the 3 major areas we covered about event photography. First, we learned about mindset and preparation, including the key questions you need to ask to get the perfect brief. Second, we covered gear and reliability, explaining the non-negotiable equipment setup required for low light work and how to get a fast turnaround. And finally, we discussed finding work, highlighting the powerful, simple strategy of tagging and relationship building that secures repeat business.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity. Really cool show. Lots to learn, new genre, perhaps for people to kind of fit into their existing business or to learn more about. And I will see you next week.
See you next week, Sam.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to the website commercial-photographer-podcast.com and sign up to the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.